morning viewers. Today I have the pleasure of presenting Dr. Asif Iqbal, the President of Indian Economic Trade Organization to you. Dr. Asif Iqbal is a wonderful personality, an architect by training and a business promoter by choice. He has got his PhD from University of Jerusalem on Social Behavior Management. That is why his people skills are par excellence. Dr. Asif Iqbal has been leading IETO very successfully, leading several delegations to all parts of the country. Dr. Asif Iqbal started his business career by being a part of the Arab Chambers of Commerce, and then from there he set up his own organization called Indian Economic Trade Organization, headquartered in Bangalore. He just led a delegation. Some 72 hours ago he has returned to Vietnam, a very interesting developing economy. I would ask Dr. Asif Iqbal about his organization, IETO. Well, if you can tell our viewers, why did you set up IETO and what is your mission actually? I see you so active and your organization is so vibrant. Tell our viewers what is the IETO all about.
Thank you very much, Professor. Well, IETO was established, looking at the gap, that we have in business and trade. Ideally, there is only an exchange of information that was conventionally done. What IETO did was, to start hand-holding and to actually start taking people to those countries and, getting them collaborated, getting them connected, getting them to, meet the credible sources of, business making and trading that would, enable transactions to become more and more transparent and more profitable and fruitful for Indian investors. We have noticed that a lot of Indian businesses, try to identify, do businesses in foreign countries, but they don't have the right hand-holding, ecosystem. So what we are doing is, we have this kind of a specialized ecosystem, a customized delegation process where we take them, understanding the needs of, their product, and then identifying the, retrospective, respective partner in that country, wherein they can connect, wherein they can start doing things, and where it saves a lot of time for them, where it is credible, and the result is, immediate. So that is something that we have always worked towards. We don't have too many members and just get a lot of members and just do nothing, but we believe in quality than to have the quantity. And we are more focusing on the SME segment. SME and the medium small enterprises is something during my visits to various countries and with interactions with various ministries and the trade bodies there, they are also focusing on the SME system, and they would like to collaborate with the Indian processes, because India having a population of 1.4 billion, there are a lot of businesses, a lot of processes, a lot of small entrepreneurship companies that are there where they can get a lot of learning from them. And for Indian entrepreneurs, it's a great takeaway when we visit those countries, getting those technologies, getting their work procedures, getting their methodologies, quality control systems. So there has been a lot of that kind of exchange that we have seen in the last few years.
I know about the business apex bodies like FICCI, CII, ASOCHAM and PhD. But your association is certainly distinctive, and it has a unique strategy. As you said, you do the hand-holding. And I would perhaps like to describe it as a business body on the move, which is very good because it's a result-based approach, and I've been seeing your delegations going almost every fortnight, really.
Yeah.
Very good. Now, will you tell us that when you go abroad, you certainly have the platform of that particular country, but at the same time, do you really sign MOUs and identify a scope for business for the members or the companies accompanying you?
Well, normally what happens is when companies travel, they first want to understand, the other party, and they want to know our side and we want to know their side. So the process starts from there, and once that happens, and it happens actually on a credible platform, either the embassy of that country or the ambassador of that country here and our Indian embassy there, they collaborate, they host us. So then there is already a 50% work done from our side, where people can meet the credible people directly. And once that happens, the next level is of getting them to agree with each other on some basic symbolic understanding, which is normally a memorandum of understanding that we help them sign with the other party. And we also, wherever possible, sign a memorandum of understanding for collaboration and for supporting those companies. And once that happens, the next level would be for the sector-wise company to do the business. And there, what we do is again, the due diligence and the signing of legal agreements, and also then incorporating a company and various such procedures. We help companies. But then that is where it all starts from, and things will move much faster, which is really helpful, and which does not normally happen. As I told you, we only believe in quality than quantity. So when we take companies, there are around 18 to 20 companies every time, and we identify their respective partners of their sectors in those countries. So their visit and the time that they spend on going for a visit becomes very fruitful.
Very good. And I was talking to your colleague, and he was telling me that you have again a very interesting structure. You have divided your target countries as individual countries or groups of countries depending on regional bodies, and you have some 50 plus trade commissioners promoting business in those respective countries. Is that the case? Will you tell our viewers about
Yes.
your trade commissioner structure in IETO?
You see, what has happened is we have got divisions. We have divided, into Latin American division. We have divided into African division, then the Eurasian division, the Arab division. Then we have an ASEAN division, and then we have a Pacific division. So basically, what happens is when somebody is doing a business, it becomes easy for them to focus in the region for their product. Let's say, for example, when we go to a country like, let's say, Vietnam, it becomes easy for us to go to Laos and Cambodia neighboring. So the product that needs to move around, it becomes easy for our businesses to move in the region. So we have divided that into regions, because regions also have their own multilateral arrangements. For example, you have COMESA, which is an Eastern South African countries collaboration. Then you have the SADC region, which is Southern African Development Council. Then in Latin America, you have their own structures like Mercosur, and and in Eurasia you have the Eurasian Council. In ASEAN, you have their own ASEAN arrangement that they have made, the multilateral arrangements, where Indian businesses can make use of those particular networks and the multilateral systems. For example, the Africa Free Trade Zone, the ACFTA that is already been established, we are working out how Indian companies can collaborate, how they can benefit from that. Even though India is not a member directly, even though India is not a participant in those directly, but it always helps the Indian businesses to collaborate and work on those. So we have various trade commissions and trade desks that are established out of the various business and businessmen that come with us to the delegations, and these are all some very big industrialists and people who have interest in promoting India's economic diplomacy. So we choose them, and then we appoint them as trade commissioners, directors, chairmen of various committees, so that the business can be focused and they can take forward the aim, the vision and the mission for that particular region or for that country that they are interested in. And we do again hand-holding for them right from the Ministry of External Affairs in India, then the various commerce departments, the commerce ministries and the ministries in those countries, which makes easier for them to to do business in the region.
Thank you. There is something about Vietnam, which is your latest visit. Vietnam is a very interesting country in the world. It is the only country that is said to have defeated one of the superpowers, the United States, in 1975. And it is a middle income country now, and it is moving closer to United States, having a communist party as the government there. And its per capita income is higher than India. What did you find in Vietnam? How is the business culture in Vietnam?
Well, Vietnam in the last 4 to 5 years, we have seen a lot of movement from the Vietnamese side, pushing, to the Indian businesses and trying to collaborate with the Indian businesses. Perhaps the reason is also due to the fact that India is focused towards the Pacific, the Indo-Pacific region and the Quad that we are entering, and also the protection of common interests like, their South China, the South China Sea that is there. So they are also interested in protecting their borders, and we are also protecting. I think that is one of the interests. Two is the defense cooperation, where India is helping them, especially on sensitive areas like nuclear technology and the missile system and various such technologies where India can be great help to Vietnam. Apart from that, the MSME culture of Vietnam is very, very robust. And during our visit, we have we have had 3 delegations so far, and we have got to different provinces. And those provinces are very, very active, and their local governance is so aggressive in inviting people. For example, when we went, we were hosted, we were given accommodation by their government, by the province of the mid highlands region, the region called Daplak region. Their government officials had visited here, just 3 months back, and we signed a MOU with them. And their commitment and their invitation for our delegation resulted in mobilizing and mounting a 45-member delegation from different parts of India, including Pune, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Bangalore, and Hyderabad. So that was a very, very fruitful delegation we had. We signed 14 MOUs in areas of agriculture, in pharmaceutical, in engineering, in product management, and education. So these were the areas that we focused upon, and the people from Hyderabad and South were very happy to start establishing their own small entities there. They wanted to establish companies there, and Vietnam has a very good ecosystem where even our Indian embassy in Hanoi and the Consul General from Ho Chi Minh have been very supportive. In fact, our meetings, the chief guest was the Consul General of India from Ho Chi Minh, and they have been supporting a lot. And in the last 3 years, from my interaction with him, it was told to me that from the 11.3 billion, from 11.3%, the business has increased to 14.8% now, and it has been very good. And we have reached almost around 9 billion of exports to Vietnam, and they have exported to us approximately around 10 billion. So the balance of trade, we have a very small gap that we have got, and I think we are able to fulfill that. And also the women entrepreneurs in Vietnam, and overall, for example, meeting started at 7:30 in Vietnam. We were invited at 7:30 for the meeting in Vietnam, and the cultural program started at 8 a.m. And the whole Indian delegation was surprised and so motivated. How can a program start at 8 a.m. in the morning? And there is a cultural program. Dancers are ready to welcome us at 8 a.m. in the morning, and we had very, very fruitful meetings till 12 p.m. And I understood that this is a very important thing for us to learn, because in India, when you start a meeting, it starts at 10:30, 11, and by the time you start, then you are half of the day, and the productivity becomes much lesser. So this is something that we have taken away from there, and all the delegation members are motivated by the fact that business started such early in the morning.
Very good, thank you. What about the women participation in the workforce there?
Well, we noticed that almost more than 50% of the workforce there was women, and except in the top leadership, the whole supporting system was from the women and the women entrepreneurs who have been there to support and to give us all the hand-holding. They have been very, very enterprising, and there are some companies that we visited. For example, an agriculture company which was totally run by a women group. There was a pharma company where maximum participation was from the women, and then there was a coffee company that was establishing, which is supplying more than 700 tons to Nestle, one of the big companies. They had a lot of women participation, and we noticed that very few people participate, but the productivity is much more. For example, the coffee company that is doing such a big work had only 30 people doing a lot of work, which in India would have seen at least 100 people working. So this is something takeaway for us, and we need to learn from their mode of operation.
Very good. And how to Vietnamese food? Vietnam coffee is very tasty.
Yes, Vietnam
coffee. Food. Did you taste some Vietnam food?
The Indian delegation did have. There are a lot of Indian restaurants in Ho Chi Minh and Hanoi. However, in Daklak, there is no Indian restaurant. But yes, this time we have initiated somebody to set up something. However, it was great on the part of the Daklak province to arrange Indian food for us by getting some Indian spices and getting their chefs to make some Indian food. They reached almost there, but it was good, and it is something. Indian food is something which is a weakness for the Indian people wherever we go, and we have always told organizers that if you want Indians to stay longer, please arrange Indian food so they can stay for more than 2-3 days and do some business there.
Correct. Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you so much
for telling us viewers about IETO and your experience, wonderful experience in Vietnam. Thank you.